Hi, I'm Maya, and this is the channel Bookworm Dreams. So this is the start of a week-long reading vlog in which I'm going to try to replace previous week's screen time with reading time, because I've noticed lately that I've been on my phone a lot. And when I checked my screen time for last week, there were certain Balkan curse words that came out because it's a lot. All right, so you can probably see the picture here. It looks like on average throughout the week, I spend around 7 hours, 8 hours reading. So I made a little thing here. If we go by day, last Monday, I spent 9 hours and 15 minutes on my phone. Tuesday, 9 hours and 12 minutes. Wednesday, 9 hours and 70 minutes. Thursday, 6 hours and 41 minutes, because I think I started reading that day. Friday, 8 hours and 31 minutes. Saturday, 6 hours and 15 minutes. And Sunday, 6 hours and 1 minute. So that's a lot. So the goal of this reading vlog is to spend as much... God, I'm hoping for half. Like, literally, I'm hoping for half. Like, for Monday or today, I'm not sure if I can fit 9 hours and 15 minutes of reading. I will try, but I'm aiming for half. That's my goal. So the goal of this reading vlog is basically to replace all the time I spend on YouTube and Reddit, apparently, and playing games on my phone with reading. So that is what we're going to try to do. What am I going to be reading, you ask? Well, it's September, which means it's Aurelium time, magical readathon time. I have to read 7 books this equinox. I do have a TBR, so you can check it out. So yeah, we're going to start with Aurelium books. But before we start with Aurelium books, I have one her kid book, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, that I want to finish before I start with the Aurelium one. Because I know if I don't finish it today, it's going to drag on for days and days and days and months and whatever. And it's like, if I finish this book, I'm going to finish a prompt, so I'm just going to focus on finishing the book. So what I'm currently reading right now is Aidan Thomas's Lost in the Neverwoods. And it's a Peter Pan retelling. In it, we follow Wendy. Wendy is 18. And we find out that when she was younger, 12 or something, I don't know, she and her brothers went missing in the woods. And only she came back. And she doesn't remember what happened. And on her 18th birthday, Peter Pan magically appears, and his shadow as well, and kids start missing again. So we're trying to figure out what happened. What happened to her? What happened to her brothers? Are they still alive? Where are they? And yeah, Wendy is basically trying to find Peter's shadow again and do stuff. It's fine. I thought it would be creepier than it is. I mean, it is creepy, but I thought it would be much creepier. And I guess, I mean, it's a YA, so I don't know how creepy, but you know, children books can be really creepy. Like Catherine Arden's the 4-book series really creeped me the fuck out. So yeah, we'll see. It's Monday. The goal is to read for 9 hours and 15 minutes. We'll see how far we get. It's now about 10:30, so 10:30. 9 hours. That's like 7:30. We'll see. I have stuff to do around the house as well. So yeah, we'll see. I'll report back when I have something to report. So my timer says 7:16, which means I've read for 2 hours and I finished my first book. I mean, finished the book I started before, but read my first book for today. So I finished Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas. It's a Peter Pan retelling, and the ending got a bit creepier. I like the atmosphere of this book. There were some really creepy parts. I like the relationship between Wendy and Peter, how that developed, and how basically he showed her a bit how to be a kid again, because she is very filled with guilt and anxiety over what happened before, because she doesn't remember, and then she starts remembering stuff, and you know, things develop from there. Yeah, I liked it. It was cool. But now, the plan for today was to start with The Inheritance by Ilona Andrews, but I have shit to do around the house. So we shall be starting with a Becky Chambers book. So I have To Be Taught If Fortunate as an audiobook. It's a novella, and I think it's like a 4-hour audiobook or something, maybe even shorter. But when I double up the speed, I can go through it in a couple of hours, and I can do some housework in those couple of hours, which is what I will be doing. To be thought fortunate, we follow a woman who is exploring deep space or something, and she writes notes to Earth about what she's exploring, the planets, the people, and yeah, we'll see how I like it. I look like a bold baby. All right, so it's now currently almost 8:30, and I have, let me see, 4 hours and 40 minutes left on the timer, which means that I spent almost 5 hours reading today, which is great. I haven't read that much the whole of last week, so that's great. But there has been a change of plans. So Herkid, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, it's a challenge that I'm doing since July. There will be a video soon. Well, I was supposed to film a video today of the progress I've made, of all the prompts that I've read, of all the prompts that I finished. So far, I finished 4. Well, I didn't. But I was... when you finish a prompt, you can submit all the books that you've read for said prompt. For stats reasons. Stephanie, the woman who created the challenge and everything, she likes stats. So when you finish a prompt, you give her the stats, and then she has a whole video at the end of the year where you can see like the most read book and whatnot. So while I was inputting stats for my adaptations prompt, I realized that I messed up one of the parts of the adaptation prompt. So basically in the adaptation, you have like 7 different parts where you have to read an adaptation of something or the original book work that was adapted to a certain medium, right? So there is a graphic novel / comic part. And in my head, that meant, I have to read something that has been adapted, a graphic novel that's been adapted into something else, like a TV show. So I read Heartstopper, Volume 4, I think, for that. It's not that. The point of that was to read a graphic novel or comic adaptation of a book. So I haven't finished the prompt, but I did remember that I have this. So this is Jim Butcher's Dresden Files Omnibus, Volume 1. Does that mean there's a Volume 2? I should probably check out if there's a Volume 2. I don't know. So basically this is a comic / graphic novel adaptation of the Dresden Files. You have Welcome to the Jungle. You have the first book, Stormfront. You have Full Moon, the second book. And there's something else. A little, I want to say short story. I don't know what it is. It's called, let me see, Restoration of Faith. Right, so I have read Welcome to the Jungle, and I started, I'm here, and I started Full Moon, Stormfront, the book 1. And I am going to focus my energies tonight on finishing this, because I want to fulfill the prompt so I can have the prompt fulfilled so I can film the video tomorrow. But that doesn't mean that I haven't read or listened to, To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers, because stuff around the house needed to be done. I needed something in my ears while I was doing the stuff around the house. So I have maybe 40 minutes of the novella left to listen to. And in this novella, we follow Ariadne and her crew as they go into deep space exploration. And Ariadne has lots of thoughts. I realized reading Becky Chambers books, you need to be in a specific optimistic mood for them, because they're very optimistic in itself. Because Ariadne starts like full of zeal and optimism about their mission and excitement, and her and her crew go from planet to planet. They meet, they discover new life, they do scientific stuff, experiments and whatnot, and at the same time she is contemplating the meaning of everything. And you need to be in a specific optimistic mood for that. So I'm not in a very optimistic mood right now. And listening to someone be very optimistic about their environment and the future, and oh my God, what does this mean for humanity? What does this mean for us as humans? And like deep thoughts and deep philosophical thoughts about the nature of humanity and what it means when you treat other living things around you well, or you treat them badly and whatnot. It has been an experience. I did reach the part of the book where things started to go wrong in their mission, like not catastrophically wrong, but one of the plans that they are exploring is being very hard for them on a psychological level. And I have now read the part where Ariadne, just wants space. And they live in a spaceship. So that was interesting. I mean, it is an interesting read, but you definitely need to be in a specific mood for that book. I heard Becky Chambers' works described as cozy science fiction or hopeful science fiction, and I totally get it. Totally fits that. But you have to be in a hopeful mood for it to have a good, maybe have a greater impact on you. But yeah, it's good. I do have one nitpicky things, but I could be wrong. So the audiobook narrator, she's doing a fantastic job. At the beginning, I thought she was a bit overdramatic, but then I got used to the voice of Ariadne, and then it worked. But a geyser, that when hot water rushes out of the ground, a geyser, not a geyser, as the audiobook narrator pronounced it. Also, I think it's petri dish, not petri dish. And there was one more. I think she mispronounced behemoth. She said something else. Because I was like, I think you mean behemoth. I can't say it. But yeah, a couple of words that in my opinion, I could be wrong. English is not my first language. The audiobook narrator is mispronouncing, and it kind of takes me out of the story because I'm like, wait, it's not geyser. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna finish Becky Chambers tonight, and then focus on Harry Dresden, and hopefully fucking start Ilona Andrews tomorrow, because that was my we're gonna start Ilona Andrews today, but no. Hopefully we're gonna start tomorrow. It's Tuesday. The plan for today is to read for 9 hours and 12 minutes. Again, we're gonna strive for half, so 4.5 hours, 5. So Monday, I ended Monday with finishing To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. I liked it a lot. Now that I had a night to think about it. It does depend on the mood, whether you would vibe with the atmosphere and the message of the story. But yeah, it's really good. It's really well written. And I enjoyed it a lot. I made a little bit of progress with my Harry Dresden. When I finished reading around midnight, the timer was at 3 hours and 54 minutes, which means I read around 5 hours and 20 minutes yesterday, which is really good. It's really good. So we are striving for around 5 hours of reading today. And I'm not sure I can manage 9 hours and 12 minutes, but we'll do as much as I can. So what I'm going to focus on is finishing this, and then hopefully start with the Ilona Andrews book. So yeah, that's the plan. Hi, it's Thursday now. I don't think you've heard from me since Tuesday. So what happened on Tuesday was that the timer was set for 9 hours and 12 minutes, as I mentioned. And at the end of the day, the timer stopped at 6 hours and 45 minutes, which means I read for 2.5 hours, maybe. I just sort of dissociated for the entire day. I couldn't focus on reading. I was like, no. So yeah. But I did finish the Dresden Files, the graphic novel. It's somewhere over there. It was fine. So that was a good thing. And I started reading The Inheritance by Ilona Andrews, finally. And that I finished on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, the timer was set to 9 hours and 17 minutes. And by the end of the day, it was on 5 hours and 12 minutes, which means 4 hours of reading and some change, which is great. Awesome. So I finished The Inheritance by Ilona Andrews, which I loved. It's a really fun book. So we follow Ada. And in Ada's world, a decade ago, something started attacking Earth by creating interdimensional portals. Let's just call them breaches. And at one point, the breach would collapse and a bunch of monsters would come out of the portal and attack everything. Okay. And because of this appearance of portals and such, people started developing talents. Basically, some people became supercharged and they could do stuff. So you have different categories of these talents. So you have some that are fighting, let's call it discovery, and a bunch of other stuff. So Ada's talent is that she can see the value of things. Like she can go into a place and like scan the place and be like, okay, so that thing is poisonous. That thing over there is valuable. She can detect various minerals and plants and such, and basically things that she wants, she can see. Yes, she uses that talent to work with a bunch of guilds. Okay, so there are guilds. This whole world is complicated. And this world also has guilds. So basically, guilds go into breaches and they mine for things and, basically explore and extract things that they need before the thing collapses or before they make the thing collapse, before the monsters cross over. So Ada, we start the book with Ada starting a journey into a breach. And then something happens. I don't know if I should spoil it or not, but it happens in the first 2 chapters. But basically something happens and she gets stuck in this alien cave thing. And she has contact with a non-human person, an alien of some sorts. And that contact changes her. And so she's now stuck in this alien cave with a German Shepherd called Bear. And the 2 of them walk around and do stuff. On the other hand, we have people on Earth trying to figure out what happened or why she is there. Why she's stuck there? I don't know. I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, it was really fun, fast-paced, adventurous read because Ada goes, is walking through this cave and she's exploring and finding out, different situations that she has to figure her way out of, and it's fun. It was a fun read. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I finished Inheritance, which was great. And then I started The Rainfall Market. This is a book translated from Korean. It follows a young girl. I think she's in secondary school or about to finish secondary school, high school, or whatnot. And she does not like her life. Her family is poor. Her sister is missing, and she doesn't really have lots of prospects in life. She seems to not be happy with her life, and she's just wants a change. And so there's this thing where you send a letter about how horrible her life is, and you get invited to the Rainfall Market, which appears every year during the rain season. And she gets the invitation. She goes and she basically meets these creatures, and they tell her, like, okay, you have to find different orbs for things you want, and each orb will give you a vision of your life with the thing that you want. So like she wants to have a good job. She wants to have her own business. She wants money. She wants get married to someone she loves. And she gets to see sort of these visions. And basically the whole point of the book is like the grass is always greener. So you have to start appreciating what you have. And that is basically what happens throughout the book. I mean, there are other things, but this is basically the point of the book. So yeah. So I finished it today, on Thursday. The Thursday's clock timer thing is on 6 hours and 41 minutes. And right now I have, let me check. Right now I'm on 4 hours and 28 minutes. So yeah, I read for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So the next book I have to start is Blood Over Bridehaven by Emma Wong, because this is a book club book I have to read because the book club meeting is on Sunday. So yeah, that's the book I will be starting soon. We are going to pretend that today is Sunday when the reading vlog was supposed to end. It did end, but we're going to pretend it's not Tuesday when I'm filming this. Okay, so you heard of me. It was Thursday last week. And I told you I was going to start Blood Over Bridehaven by Emma Wong, and I did. The timer on Thursday ended at 3 hours and 11 minutes, which means I read for 3.5 hours on Thursday, which is great. I started Blood Over Bridehaven, and I finished it on Friday when the timer was set for 8 hours and 31 minutes and ended on 3 hours and 35 minutes, which means I read for almost 5 hours. Blood Over Bridehaven is a fantasy novel in which we follow Siona and Tomlin. The first chapter of this book is brutal. We follow a tribe of like 20 people running over a frozen lake to a safe haven, the town where the book takes place. because where they live, there's something called the Blight. And it's a randomized event which basically siphons, in a very gruesome and brutal way, energy from people. Basically makes people fall apart. And that's what happens to most of the tribe. And you have two people from the tribe, Tomlin being one of them, survive and managing to get to. This is chapter 1, by the way. It's so brutal. It's so brutal. I was like, oh my god. I remember Swords of Kaigen, the first book I read by this author, and it was brutal as well. But I guess I forgot how brutal. But this was like, oh my god, this is okay. And they reach the city, and then we meet the second character, which is Sayona. Sayona is a very talented mage, and she is now at the position where she takes a test to become part of this high mage ministry something. I think she's the first woman who has the opportunity to take this test. Tells you a lot about the society and about what men think of women, what women think of women as well, how they should act and whatnot. And this persists throughout the book. So if you're reading this, you will be, it will cause some emotions. And so she takes the test. She becomes the high mage. And then she is awarded Tomlin, who works as a janitor in this place, as her assistant to research a project in which they would expand the protective barrier over the city, which makes sure that they are not affected by the blight. And then the story goes on and on. I gave this book 5 stars. I had such, I don't want to say fun times reading it. I've read it in, as you can see, in 2 days. I was gripped by the story. I was just tense the entire time. I wanted to see what was happening. There were also very interesting discussions on religion. And they had discussions on the consequences of, what they did is not colonization. It's slavery. Slavery. But it wasn't like specifically said it was slavery. It wasn't like Tomlin trying to, he depicted and argued that, his people were held back because Sayona's people stole stuff from them and, basically made their living very difficult. And, they couldn't really, they didn't have the opportunity to develop as Sayona's people did. And there were discussions on that. There were discussions on religion. There was discussion on, oh my God, so many things. And, our main Siona being the anti-heroine that she is. It was a fascinating read. I really had a great time reading this. Yeah. The discussion in the book club was fiery. But it was great. So yeah, that was Friday. And then on Saturday, the timer was for 6 hours and 15 minutes. And I started reading of Monsters and Mainframes by Barbara Truelove, which is a book from my Aurelium TBR. Also a book for her kid. In this book, now, here's the thing. I finished the book yesterday, on Monday. Here's the thing. The summary of the book, what it says in the summary, starts happening at the 50%. The last part, the Dracula hunting part, starts happening at the 70% of the book. So I was trying to think of a way to summarize the book, but not to spoil everything, because not most of it, but, is spoiled in the summary that you can see on Goodreads. It sets up an expectation of like a fun space adventure, something where like there are people who are, hunting Dracula, which technically is true. But it happens so far into the book that it's like, I don't know. So in this book, we follow Demeter. Now, this is my fault because I didn't read the summary correctly. Demeter is an AI of a ship. I thought it was like a captain of the ship. So she's an AI of the ship. I'm saying she because she refers to herself as she. We start the book with her like waking up from hibernation or whatever. Not hibernation. She's not a person. She was powered down, then she powered up, and all of her crew was dead because she figures out Dracula, because he coded something, was there and he killed everyone. And there was the coffin with the soil earth from like where he was sleeping whatnot and traveling with, and yeah, he basically killed everyone. And so she got back to Earth, and they put her aside for a little bit. Started calling her Ghost Ship because she killed all of her crew was dead, and one of her spider drones, which she uses for maintenance, it was accused of doing it. It was like, oh yeah, it was a rogue spider drone. She also travels on the ship. There is also medical doctor, a medicine AI thing called Steward, and they basically have antagonistic at the beginning sort of relationship, and then it sort of turns into sort of friendship, and then stuff. The second voyage that we follow Demeter on, there was a werewolf on her ship that killed almost everyone, but left 2 children that were then raised on the ship while they were traveling back to Earth. So another incident for poor Demeter, where everyone dies. Then we have the third incident, which was Cthulhu retelling. I have never read anything by H.P. Lovecraft, so not sure how good of a retelling this was. But basically, most of her passengers were like turning into fish-like things, and they were like, we have to go turn the ship to go to some planet because that's our home. And Cthulhu was mentioned. So 3 times Demeter lost all or most of her passengers. And Stewart was more or less helpful or not helpful in these situations. And then we meet Frankenstein. He is like a cyborg, but he was a work of art from Victor Frankenstein. So he's an artist in this world, and he created Frankenstein's monster with the DNA samples of everyone from the first trip that were killed with Dracula, turned them into a cyborg and whatnot, and used them for he was in a museum for a couple of years, and then people were like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? So he is now set loose, and he found his way to Demeter because he wanted to find out about Dracula and this first incident, the reason he was made. And then, other people come and whatnot, stuff. The adventure to go find Dracula starts. But literally, it's the last maybe 30 or 20% of the book, this part. We also meet this pharaoh guy who has powers, but again, also happens at like the 70% of the thing. So it was sort of it was a fun read. I enjoyed it, but it was like, when you go into expecting something else and you get this, it's kind of like, eh. So on Saturday, I read for only an hour. So my timer stopped at 5 hours and 12 minutes. So I read for only an hour. On Sunday, I read for 2 hours. The timer was set to 6 hours. I ended it at 4 hours, so 2 hours of reading. And yesterday I finished the book. I joined some late night sprints, and I finished the book. And that's it for my reading for this week. It was very successful. In the actual week, I finished 1 book I started the previous week and then read 5 new books. So overall, I finished 6 books, which is great. But also not great because you get kind of burnt out on reading because you read so much in such a short time. So, I did spend a bunch of Saturday just watching Alien Earth because, I needed to not read and just watch aliens kill people. Was it successful? I think it was because, I didn't it was unrealistic of me to think I could read 9 hours a day. I could, but I didn't want to. But yeah, I did use my phone less because I read more, so that's good. That's it for the reading vlog. If you have read any of the books that I've mentioned in this reading vlog and you want to share your thoughts, please do so down below in the comments. Press the like button for the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and that's it. I will see you in the next video. Bye!